It's spoiler talk time for Spider-Man Far From Home. Let's start off with the point that got you the most excited.
Okay.
Okay, look, the grin's already back.
J.K. Simmons is back as J. Jonah Jameson, and I'm fucking thrilled.
There just wasn't anyone out there that could have replaced him.
No.
Not while he's still breathing, anyway.
No. It's I remember hearing rumours like back when Homecoming came out that Ice Cube might be up for doing it, and because of his role in like the Jump Street films, I could have seen it. But if J.K. Simmons is an option, then why choose anyone else?
Yeah, they could have used Ice Cube in one of their methods of like trying to update the character.
Yeah, and like differentiate it from the Raimi trilogy and stuff. But
the thing about doing that was people would always have compared him to J.K. Simmons, and I really think they went with a better option here. Yeah. Now with a shinier head.
Yeah, he's got a new look.
Yeah.
Kind of.
He no longer has the signature flat top. As soon as I heard the voice, I was just like, yes, he's back.
So something that we talked about in our spoiler-free review was the plot contrivances. And the main one, for me anyway, was the bit where Mysterio is fighting the elementals and the bit of his drone comes off and MJ, of all people, happens to pick it up. Mm-hmm. It's just too convenient. Like, if anybody else had picked that up, it wouldn't have got back to Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah. And I can agree, but I'll expand upon it. The bit where they're on the bridge basically discussing... It's where MJ finds out for definite that Peter is Spider-Man.
Why did they put that in the trailer?
I don't know. It's something Sony keeps doing. They keep putting like all these important plot devices in the trailer, so it would have worked so much better if you had just gone in blind.
I thought either that was going to be in like the opening couple of minutes, therefore it wasn't really a spoiler, or she was going to be like, it's so obvious she's Spider-Man, and then you'd be like, what? She'd be like, I'm just kidding, it's clearly not you.
Yeah, because she does something similar in Homecoming, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, where do you keep going, Peter?
Yeah.
I don't really care.
I don't care, yeah. But yeah, and as they're talking, the drone just decides, I'm going to turn itself on, and reveal to Peter that Quentin Beck has been messing with you all along and leading you on. In order to get his hands on Tony Stark's tech, like Edith, is it called, the glasses?
Edith, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, shock horror, Mysterio is a bad guy. I mean, they do play off quite well that they might potentially go off in a new direction with the character, but then when the quote-unquote plot twist happens, it's just like, well, alright then. I think explaining Mysterio's abilities was done quite well in this film, and it was a great way to like modernise it as well, because effectively he does what he does through the use of holograms and drones. And I think they explain it cleverly as well, because when the elementals are out doing their thing, obviously it's interacting with the real world, essentially. And then they explain that the drones have these weapons that basically cause the effects of what would be happening if, like, say, the fire elemental, if that was, like, smashing into a building or something like that. Yeah. That's explained quite well.
Yeah.
And it's clever that they've also based it off tech that has been shown in previous films as well.
Yeah, I like that. That's a touch I didn't expect. Like, you know, obviously in the comics he's a Hollywood stuntman, and I don't know why, but I guess I just figured they'd go that route in the film. But I found it interesting how they tied it in to not only to Civil War, but how they sort of eliminated that part of his origin at all. Like, I thought it was just an interesting take.
I think it's funny that they basically went down the Vulture route of explaining why he's doing what he's doing. And so it's pretty much Tony Stark manages to upset someone and then they go bad.
That's the thing though, when Mysterio is explaining like what happened when he got screwed over by Tony Stark, it's done in such a way where you can see where he's coming from, but not in a way that makes Tony Stark look like a dick. Like, the word that he says, Tony Stark didn't want to trust me with it because he said I was unstable, which is like, okay, well, good for Tony Stark because he shouldn't let someone who's unstable in charge of it because this happens. But also you can see why if you created it, you would feel screwed out of it. So they walked that line well, I thought.
Yeah, it's also clever how they tied it into the previous films as well.
Yeah.
Like, they do a flashback to Civil War where you see Quentin Beck at the press conference at the start of Civil War, and like he's there basically because he invented the tech that Tony's using in order to show off his childhood.
Barf.
And he calls it Barf, yeah, and that's like another reason for why, ooh, Tony Stark, what an asshole. So he called my technology Barf, dick. And then they also managed to explain why this group of like Mysterio's chums have come together as well. Like, they go back all the way to the first Iron Man film, to Jeff Bridges' character basically ranting on at him. And so you get this almost like a backstory for why each individual person is there and why they may be motivated to be like behind Quentin Beck's cause in the first place.
I just remembered during one of the illusions, there's like a brief moment where there's multiple Spider-Men fighting each other, and I thought that was really cool to see.
I think the whole Mysterio illusion sequence that happens just towards the end of the film, where he basically fights him for the first time, that whole sequence to me was very like well done.
It was really well done, yeah.
And it was something that we haven't properly seen in previous MCU films, so it's nice to see that they're always trying to go down a different route and like bring you new.
Yeah, well, it's good as well because they threw you for a loop, and then you think that you're out of the loop, and then they go, "Ah, no, you're still in the loop."
Yeah, there are also quite a few Easter eggs in this film that you may gloss over, like if you weren't paying too much attention.
Yeah.
Like I noticed, for an example, when he's making his new upgraded suit for the final fight, there were some schematics that came up, and one of them was definitely the PS4 Spider-Man suit, like the advanced suit.
See, I didn't notice that. But what I did notice was when they first meet Quentin Beck and he's explaining where he came from and stuff, and he says this is Earth 616, which I thought was a nice little Easter egg.
Yeah, that was cool.
So this film does pay quite a lot of attention to Peter's relationship with MJ.
It's a high school like movie at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
The first hour in particular is literally just Peter trying to impress MJ, and inevitably everything goes wrong.
But I'm a lot more impressed this time around because in the first one I didn't really like her character that much. I just buy it more in this film. I like her character more. Like in the first film, most lines that she has is some kind of like progressive statement. Whereas in this one, she does have that, but then, you know, she does it in more of like a jokey way, and she has like some genuine lines as well, some genuine scenes where there's a bit where she says about how she doesn't really get close to people and how she's like quite insecure and stuff. So you get more of a peek behind the curtain into her character.
Yeah, and they managed to do it without almost ruining her character from the first film as well. She carries it on, but then adds upon it as well, like showing different sides to the character, which I think they did really well.
Yeah. But what they didn't do that well, I would say, is Ned and Betty's relationship.
Yeah, I mean, Ned definitely managed to get his girl quicker than Peter did. Yeah, but that's one of the things that started off as a joke, and I think they might have just gone too far with it.
Yeah.
Because because effectively, he gets on the plane, he ends up having to sit next to her, ironically, due to his method of trying to get Peter and MJ together, and then you just don't see anything happen, really, and then they get off the plane and they're a couple.
Yeah. And the thing is, they're not given a storyline. Like, if they were given something to do, then I could buy it more, but it's literally their entire storyline is just whenever them two are on screen, they're just like, "Oh, I love you, babe. Oh, I love you too, babe." Like, that's it. They're not given anything to do, are they? They're just there to hang around in the background with Peter and MJ sometimes and just make comments like that. And after, it just gets a bit tiresome.
And they do it so much that it just loses its charm at some point. I can't really pinpoint where, but it definitely outstays its welcome.
Yeah. Whereas the Happy Hogan and Aunt May one, that makes a bit more, it's done better, but it also makes more sense because they both have like a mutual interest in looking after Peter. And because of the job that Happy has, it makes sense that he would see quite a bit of Aunt May.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just done better.
Just going back to Ned, and at the end of the film, Ned and Betty eventually break up.
Yeah.
And I think that just like it makes his whole arc over the film pointless. And I think that's the thing. It's almost like they put him in the film without any clear direction.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the film, it's just null and void anyway.
I wouldn't even call it an arc because he doesn't really change, does he? He doesn't learn anything, really. He just... I mean, he says, like, "Oh, this boy is now a man." But he doesn't change as a character. He doesn't really evolve.
And at the end of the film, he just goes back to being the Ned we knew from the beginning anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't see what the purpose,
No.
apart from a few comedic bits, his whole relationship with Betty was from the get-go. So
No, I don't get it. They should have given him some sort of actual storyline.
that's what I liked about it from Homecoming, though, because you show him get involved with Peter's escapades.
The guy in the chair.
Yeah. Oh, and at the end where he's like, "Oh, I'm helping you, but I'm also telling the teacher that I'm watching porn in order to cover it up." That's another thing I didn't like about this film. It was they tried to like juggle Peter's school life with obviously his spy work, and there were just too many times where something happened that you'd think, well, someone should have picked up on it.
Yeah.
Like, when Nick Fury first shows up and he's just sat in the corner of the room and there are like 4 different people that like come in or knock on the door and like interrupt, he always manages to find a way to like disappear from the class, and the teachers don't really seem to like have that much concern for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, the teacher will play it off like, oh, Peter, you're alive, and then like he'll just kind of wander off again. It's just like, all right.
But that's kind of his character, though, isn't it? So I can kind of forgive.
Yeah, but you can say like from the comics, because it focuses more on his like school life in New York, and so he might just miss a class, and then it'll show him getting the repercussions for it. But I think because it's focusing on a school trip, they try to like tongue in cheek like play off like, there won't be like any, repercussions for like disappearing or that, when there should be. But I feel like they just try and play it off like, oh, we know it doesn't make sense, but that's part of its charm. And like in some cases it works, in some it doesn't. But yeah, eventually Spider-Man inevitably beats Mysterio and then goes on living his day-to-day, or so we think. Because in the mid-credits scene, oh boy, there's a spanner in the works. Because Quentin Beck has decided to record his final like eulogy, in a way, because he dies. And he screws Peter again.
Dick move.
Dick move. Yeah, effectively, he tells the world that Spider-Man caused the drone attack and managed to use his illusionary ways to, like, play off that.
And then he reveals that he's Peter Parker and throws up a fucking image.
Yep, so now Spider-Man is a public menace, and so is Peter Parker. Well, hey! Joe Jonah Jameson's gonna have a fucking picnic.
Yeah, so it ended almost in like a John Wick Chapter 2 way, where it's like, okay, now the world's almost been like pitted against him. How's he going to get out of this one? So I don't know if the next one's just going to start like immediately after this finishes.
Well, it's definitely got me interested to see where they go with the character, because in the comics he's revealed his identity before, but it was done in like a much more noble way. Like he just decides, I'm just going to come out and reveal it. While in this, it's pretty much against his will. Yeah,
I mean, the thing that you can say is Nick Fury has got the resources to, you would think, protect him. Mm-hmm. So they could just like haul him up somewhere till they did like figure out a plan of how to prove it wrong. But
well, I mean, you say that, but from the looks of it, Nick Fury is in space, probably doing something for what I can only assume will be Captain Marvel 2.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
He's just chilling in a spaceship.
Yeah.
I guess this is his new form of S.H.I.E.L.D., you could argue, but it'll be interesting to see where that goes. And that's what I liked about these end credit scenes, is that they definitely set up stuff that can be incorporated into Phase 4.
Yeah, they do. They're both important to stick around for if you want to know about the future of the MCU. But what I would say is I thought they were going to be a lot more, maybe not important, but informative than they were. Like, I literally thought Nick Fury would unveil like the new team of Avengers or something. It's not like that scale. That's our spoiler talk anyway. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. It would really help us out.
Smash that subscribe button, please.
Or just click it. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.